He's not gonna make it for him. Alex, quit running.
Sir, stop! Sir! I didn't do it! Stop! Stop! Why have you done? Stop! Stop! I didn't do it!
You did it. Make it fit.
Stop! I did not do it! I did not do whatever! I did not do anything you guys are talking about!
She needed like 3 police cars.
No, I did not do
And a couple others.
About 3 freaking stop signs about a certain thing that I was driving recklessly and I was not.
Well,
You can't kill that cat! I didn't do anything. Yes, you did. You almost killed 3 fucking people. What are you doing even ask how? How? You killed 3 people right now.
Put him in my car.
What you just witnessed happened on July 15th, 2022, in Byron, Georgia. A woman driving an SUV with a small child inside, ramming multiple vehicles and police cars while trying to escape arrest. The woman is 24-year-old Sierra Hibbert of Warner Robins, Georgia. You saw the dashcam footage showing her vehicle hitting cars, backing up, ramming forward, tires flattened by stop sticks, but still trying to drive. Officers commanding her to get out. Her refusing. You heard her after being arrested. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything, sir. An officer's response. You just tried to kill 10 people. Her denial. No, I didn't, sir. Then you saw the aftermath. Another driver, one of the victims Hibbert had rammed, shouting at her as an officer removed a small child from the back seat of Hibbert's SUV and shut the car doors. According to the official Byron Police Department report, this entire incident started with 911 calls reporting a reckless driver on Georgia Highway 42, driving into oncoming traffic, nearly causing head-on collisions. By the time it ended, Sierra Hibbert had rammed multiple civilian vehicles, hit a Byron police officer with her car, struck 4 different Byron police cars, some multiple times, driven on flat tires trying to escape, endangered her own child who was in the vehicle the entire time. The child was not injured. No officers were seriously injured. No citizens were seriously injured. But it was pure luck, not because Hibbert showed any care for human life. Before we continue, if you want to understand the full story behind bodycam footage, not just raw clips without explanation, subscribe to this channel right now. We don't just post bodycam videos. We break them down. We give you the 911 calls that started it, the laws that apply, the investigation results, the outcomes for everyone involved. Our goal is to help you understand what really happened and why it happened, so you can form your own informed opinion. That's what sets this channel apart. Context, analysis, and the complete story. Hit that subscribe button now. Do you think having a child in the car should increase the criminal charges? Drop your answer below, asterisk asterisk. To understand how this incident started, we need to go back to the 911 calls that alerted Byron Police. According to the official report, on Friday, July 15th, 2022, Byron police officers received a lookout alert for an SUV driving recklessly on Georgia Highway 42 heading into town. A caller reported that the vehicle was driving erratically, crossing into the opposite lane, nearly hitting oncoming traffic head-on. This wasn't slightly drifting over the center line. This was actively driving into the path of cars coming the other way, behavior that could easily cause fatal head-on collisions. For officers receiving this information, the threat assessment is clear. This driver is either impaired, drunk, high, medical emergency, distracted, phone, not paying attention, or deliberately reckless. Any of those scenarios presents immediate danger to the public. The vehicle was heading toward the intersection of Highway 42 and Highway 49 in Byron, a busy intersection where 2 major roads meet. High traffic volume, multiple directions of travel, the worst possible place for a reckless driver. When the SUV reached that intersection, something remarkable happened. Witnesses who had seen the dangerous driving blocked the vehicle in. Think about that. Regular citizens, seeing a driver endangering lives, made the decision to use their own vehicles to box in the SUV and prevent it from continuing. They physically positioned their cars to trap Hibbert's vehicle at the intersection. That's not something police asked them to do. That's citizens taking action to protect their community. Risky action, because they didn't know if the driver was armed, violent, or willing to ram them. Byron police officers arrived at the intersection and found the SUV blocked in by civilian vehicles. Hibbert was in the driver's seat. The small child was in the back. Officers attempted to make contact. They approached the vehicle. They gave commands. They tried to talk to Hibbert. She was completely uncooperative. She wouldn't talk to officers, wouldn't respond to commands, wouldn't roll down her window, wouldn't get out of the vehicle. Officers recognized the situation. A driver who had been reported for nearly causing multiple head-on collisions was now refusing to cooperate and was surrounded by civilian vehicles with people nearby. They made a tactical decision. They deployed stop sticks, spike strips designed to deflate tires gradually when a vehicle drives over them. Officers placed the stop sticks under Hibbert's tires. The message was clear. If you try to drive away, your tires will go flat and you won't get far. For several minutes, officers continued trying to get Hibbert to comply, talking to her through the window, giving commands, explaining she needed to step out of the vehicle. She refused, just sat there, wouldn't engage, wouldn't cooperate. Then she made the choice that turned this from a traffic stop into a violent felony. She put the SUV in reverse and backed into a car stopped behind her. That was the first act of violence, deliberately ramming a civilian vehicle with witnesses inside to try to create an escape route. After backing into the first civilian vehicle, Sierra Hibbert didn't stop. She pulled forward, and she hit a Byron police officer, a human being, standing near her vehicle. She drove forward and struck him with her SUV. She also hit a Byron police car parked in front of her. So within seconds, Hibbert had now rammed a civilian vehicle, hit a police officer with her car, struck a police car. That's 3 separate acts of assault with a deadly weapon. An SUV is a deadly weapon when used to ram people and vehicles. But she wasn't done. Hibbert backed up again, hit more vehicles or people behind her, then pulled forward and hit 2 more witnesses, civilians who had helped block her in, and struck a second Byron police car. She was using her vehicle as a battering ram. Back up, hit something. Pull forward, hit something else. Repeat. The dashcam footage captures the chaos. The sound of metal crunching. Officers shouting. The SUV lurching back and forth. People scrambling to get out of the way. And through all of this, there's a small child in the back seat. By now, one of Hibbert's tires had run over the stop sticks. It was deflating. She had at least 1 flat tire. But that didn't stop her. She somehow maneuvered the SUV past the vehicles blocking her and drove off heading north on Highway 49, driving on at least 1 completely flat tire. Officers pursued. They attempted to block her again. She backed into a 3rd Byron police car, then drove forward and hit one of the Byron police cars for a second time, causing what the official report describes as serious damage to the car. Think about what that means. She hit the same police car twice. Once wasn't enough. She backed up and rammed it again hard enough to cause serious damage. At this point, Sierra Hibbert had rammed multiple civilian vehicles, hit at least 2 civilian witnesses with her car, struck a police officer with her car, hit 4 different police cars, one of them twice, fled the scene on flat tires, endangered her child who was still in the vehicle. All of this to avoid being arrested for reckless driving. Officers finally managed to box her in completely on Highway 49. Enough police cars surrounded her that she couldn't maneuver anymore. She was trapped. Only then did she stop. Only then was she taken into custody. Should attempting to hit a police officer with a car be attempted murder? Type yes or no below. Asterisk asterisk. The bodycam footage shows officers extracting Sierra Hibbert from the SUV after she was finally blocked in and unable to escape. She's still not cooperating. Officers have to physically remove her from the vehicle. She's resisting, not fighting violently, but not complying either. As they're pulling her out and attempting to handcuff her, she starts her denials. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything, sir. An officer responds, you just tried to kill 10 people. Hibbert, no, I didn't, sir. This is a pattern you see in many of these cases. Someone commits multiple violent felonies on camera with dozens of witnesses and then claims they didn't do anything. Hibbert had just spent minutes ramming vehicles and people, hitting police officers and civilians with her SUV, fleeing on flat tires, and endangering her own child. All of it documented on dashcam and bodycam from multiple angles. Dozens of witnesses. Physical evidence of the damaged vehicles. And her defense is, I didn't do anything. Officers get her into custody. She's handcuffed. Still protesting. I did not do it. I did not do whatever you guys are talking about. Then comes one of the most dramatic moments in the footage. Another driver, one of the civilians Hibbert had rammed, approaches the scene as officers are removing the small child from the back seat of Hibbert's SUV. This victim is angry, shouting, You can hear the rage and fear in their voice. They had been hit by Hibbert's vehicle. They had watched her endanger a child. They had seen her try to kill police officers. An officer is carefully removing the child from the car seat in the back. The child appears unharmed, thankfully. The officer closes the car doors. The victim is still shouting at Hibbert about what she did. This is the human cost that doesn't always show up in police reports. This victim was traumatized. They were put in danger. They watched a woman with a child commit act after act of violence. And now they're seeing that child being taken out of the car, and they're furious that anyone would endanger a child like that. Let's talk about the most disturbing aspect of this entire incident. Sierra Hibbert had a small child in her vehicle during all of this. The official report states the child was not injured. That's fortunate. But not injured doesn't mean not harmed. That child experienced their mother driving recklessly, nearly causing head-on collisions, being trapped at an intersection surrounded by police, feeling the impacts as their mother rammed multiple vehicles, the terror of a high-speed flight from police on flat tires, the chaos of the final stop and their mother being arrested. Even if the child was too young to fully understand what was happening, they experienced the physical violence of those impacts, the fear, the chaos. And if the child was old enough to understand, they watched their mother try to hurt people, watched police surround them, heard the crashes, felt the terror. That's trauma. That's psychological harm that will affect that child potentially for years. In Georgia, having a child in the vehicle during the commission of violent felonies can enhance charges and increase sentences. Prosecutors can argue that Hibbert not only committed assault with a deadly weapon, fleeing police, and criminal damage, she did all of it while endangering a child. Child endangerment in Georgia is a serious charge. When combined with other felonies, it can add years to a sentence. That child was in immediate danger during every single ramming incident. Any one of those collisions could have caused serious injury. If Hibbert had hit a vehicle head-on at speed, that child could have been killed. She chose to flee. She chose to ram vehicles. She chose to endanger her own child rather than face consequences for reckless driving. According to the official Byron Police report, the Peach County Sheriff's Office assisted during the incident and is handling the investigation and criminal charges against Sierra Hibbert. The report doesn't specify the exact charges filed, but based on her documented actions, Hibbert likely faced aggravated assault, multiple counts using the SUV as a deadly weapon to strike civilians and police officers. In Georgia, this is a felony punishable by 1 to 20 years per count. With multiple victims, she could face numerous counts. Aggravated assault on a police officer, multiple counts specifically striking police officers and ramming police vehicles. This carries enhanced penalties in Georgia. Fleeing and attempting to elude *, refusing to stop for police and actively fleeing. Felony in Georgia. Reckless driving *, the initial behavior that started the incident. Criminal damage to property *, damaging multiple civilian vehicles and 4 police cars. Felony if the damage exceeds a certain dollar amount, which it almost certainly did given serious damage to at least 1 police car. Child endangerment *, having a small child in the vehicle during the commission of multiple violent felonies. Felony in Georgia, punishable by 1 to 10 years. Obstruction of officers *, refusing commands and fleeing from lawful arrest. If convicted on all counts, Sierra Hibbert could face decades in prison. Multiple aggravated assault charges alone could stack to 20 to 30 years or more. Add the enhancements for having a child present and assaulting police officers, and the potential sentence grows significantly. We don't have information on her final conviction or sentence, but the evidence against her is overwhelming. Dashcam footage, bodycam footage, dozens of witnesses, physical evidence of damaged vehicles, an injured police officer. There's no defense. She did it. It's all on camera. The question isn't guilt. It's how many years she'll serve. On July 15, 2022, in Byron, Georgia, Sierra Hibbert made a series of choices that turned a reckless driving stop into a violent rampage. She chose not to cooperate with police when they first contacted her. She chose to ram civilian vehicles to try to escape. She chose to hit a police officer with her car. She chose to strike 4 different police cars. She chose to flee on flat tires. She chose to endanger her own child through all of it. And when finally arrested, she chose to claim, "I didn't do anything." The dashcam and bodycam footage tells a different story. It shows a woman who valued avoiding arrest more than the safety of her child, more than the lives of police officers, more than the safety of innocent civilians who had done nothing but try to stop a dangerous driver. By sheer luck, no one was killed. The child wasn't seriously injured. The police officer she hit wasn't seriously injured. The civilians she rammed weren't seriously injured. But that's luck, not because Hibbert showed restraint or care. She rammed vehicles and people repeatedly. She used her SUV as a weapon. And she did it all with a small child in the back seat. The question isn't whether she's guilty. The footage proves that beyond any doubt. The question is why someone would make these choices. Why endanger your own child? Why try to kill police officers? Why ram innocent people? All to avoid arrest for reckless driving? We may never have a satisfying answer to that question. But we have the footage. We have the evidence. And we have one more case showing what happens when someone chooses violence over compliance. What do you think her sentence should be? Drop your answer in the comments below, ***. And if you want more real body cam footage analyzed with complete context, the calls, the laws, the outcomes, subscribe to this channel. We break down what happened so you can understand it fully. Thanks for watching. See you next time. ***.